Hello everyone, so today we are going to do LeetCode bi-weekly third question, maximum row covered by column. So basically in this question we are given with a zero index m cross n binary matrix mat and integer column which denotes the number of columns you must choose. A row is covered by a set of columns if each cell in the row that has value 1 also lies in one column of chosen set. So as per the question, we are required to check for all the rows which are having the set of those columns and then return the maximum number of rows that can be covered by a set of columns. Columns here we are given with this. So that's the thing which we are required in this first one. As we are returning 3, so that simply means that this we are required to check for those two calls. And here you can see in this particular first row and then second row and then third row, you can check that when we figure out with these, right, then here we are able to figure out with this one and here we are able to figure out with this one, right? So that's why we are able to check for these three rows in this particular and thus we are returning as the answer. And then here says that calls equals to 1, right? So then we are required to check for the 1 and then the 0 which is being there, right? So here these both of the rows are covered up with that particular kinds of calls, right? And that simply means 1, right? So you can check that's why these both of the rows are being there as an answer. And as they also are selecting the only column will result in both rows being covered since the entire matrix is selected, therefore we return 2. And in this particular question, as shown in the diagram above, one possible way of covering 3 rows is by selecting the 0th and second column, that is this particular and this particular, the way they are represented by the arrows, and they are required with just 2 calls only as they have represented here. And it can be shown that no more than 3 rows can be covered, so we return 3. So by choosing these 2 columns, means this particular and this, right, we are able to figure out with the 3 rows which are having the at most 2 calls. So that's why we are having answer as C. So basically this question is all about the bit masking, and I will explain you more about the same, but presently let's go through the code walkthrough for the same question. So first about the constraints. So basically the constraints are pretty much low, so that's why it's written that it is a question of bit masking. And then here is the main of this particular question, means the main function which was being given to us, and here the helper one where we are trying to check out for all the bits. And here we are first figuring out with the n, that is number of rows in the columns, and then at the starting we are taking mx as the -1 for our comparison. And then here we are going ahead with this particular for loop. In this what we are doing, we are checking for the bits of I. Basically we are means this I equals to 1 which we are passing in this particular function, and then we are going ahead with the counting of the number of bits which we are able to figure out this. And then if our b equals to calls, right, then only we will check for further information that int c of n plus 1 int k equals to 0, and then we will be directly figuring out with this particular array which is being there, that is the C array, where the length is n plus 1, and we are basically initializing it with 0. And then we are checking for the till n we will be figuring out, and then here we are checking for the other basically row and column is for that particular matrix. We are able now we will be figuring out, because till now we are able to figure out that we are having now b equals to column, means number of those calls are now figured out. So now we will be checking for the whole matrix for the same. And then in this particular we are checking that if our mat of p and j means basically our row and that particular column is equals to 1, and then if we basically let's do and with the same, if it is equals to 0, that is checking for a set bit. If that is the same, that simply means that it has equals to false, and then we will break out of that particular, and then we will simply increment our k count, because here we are required to figure out here we are required to figure out that how much maximum we are able to check with. So at the end, then we will be checking that till now how much maximum we are now being obtained with, and then at the end we will be returning the image that how many rows were being there with which we were able to figure out with our calls in the C. So this was all for this particular question, and I hope you like the explanation, but the thing is that I need to explain it more in more detail, so I'll upload one more video for the same. So yeah, this was all for this. And one more thing I would like to let you know the thing is that Newton School is now about to start with coding contest also, and for that the link would be provided in the description below, which you could check out the later stage. I'll also let you know in further videos that when it would be uploaded, so you could check out the description, and there in the description only you will be able to figure out with the link, and in that link you can check out the all details of that particular contest, and then you can give the contest a lead code also, and the Newton School also means more practice for the same. So yeah, this was all for this particular video. So yeah, thank you.